Salutations and welcome. Today we are in Vergil's first Ecloga, taking a look at lines, I think this is 46 through 50. But first, last time on Vergil's Ecloga. Well, moved the Stein last. I think it's been there since the beginning of summer. Also forgot to note in our last video that we have passed the halfway mark. Maybe I will have put a note. I don't know. Well, there's our rubric, everything we're looking for. Let's get started. Fortunate senex, ergo tuora rura manebunt, et tibi magna satis, quamvis lapis omnia nudis limosoque palus abducat pasqua iunco, non insueta gravis temptabunt pabula fetas, nec mala vicini pecoris contagia laedent. There we have it. So Melobius is talking now, responding to Tityrus's high praise of the Emperor Extreme to be. So here we find Fortunate. Now at first this looks like an imperative, but what it actually is Fortunatus. So that E right there is going to be long, and it is just an adverb, meaning fortunately or happily. Senex senis. Yes, senex senis. So this is going to be a nominative singular masculine or vocative singular. Depends on whether or not Melobius is speaking directly to Tityrus, who we know not to be too old, though he does say he's getting gray hair. That might be a bit of hyperbole. So I think actually what he is talking directly to him, so I'm going to go with the vocative. Fortunately, happily, O elder, ergo tuo rura manebunt. There is a verb, B-U-N-T. That is a third plural, future at the first and second conjugations, active and indicative. And then looking for our subject, we have rus ruris, and that is a neuter, has most third declension US and the nominative R. So then that tells us that this is nominative plural, along with tua, and ergo just means therefore. Therefore, your lands, farms, estates. Let's go with lands. No, because just use terra or tellus. Yeah, those two. No, let's go with farms. This is the rural section. Your farms will remain. So then that's just confirming for us that Octavian gave Tityrus's master a favorable response. Now, the importance there is, especially for Melobius as he's looking in on this, is that if Tityrus's master's land had been taken to pay off a soldier, then Tityrus would lose any possibility at all of freeing himself. Had he any savings, which he claims that he didn't, all those savings would be forfeit, and he'd be stuck in servitude to not a homeless master for the rest of his life. But since the land has been allowed to stay in the hands of his master, any earnings that Tityrus may or may not have made are still in his possession, so there's still the hope for him to free himself. And I think from what we have had before, the indication is that he did have enough set aside so that when his master goes to Rome and gets the favorable ruling from Octavian, that he then buys his freedom, or is freed because of something prearranged with his master. So there we go. Moving on. Et and tibi, dative singular, magna satis. So there's no verb in there, but we do have a dative with what looks like a nominative, or could be a nominative plural with a genitive. I don't know. I don't think satis is normally going to be genitive because it's satis satis. So we would assume at the very least an est in here. And a great thing is to you, or great satisfaction is to you. Maybe that's the idea right there, though. Both of these are adjectives. Great fullness. Yeah, I'm going to go with great fullness. Comma. Quamvis lapis omnia nudis demosque. And there's our verb at last. Abduco, abducere. So with that A right there, we have two options. We have either no, we only have one. Future would be abduco, abducere, abducat. Yeah. So this is subjunctive. Third singular present tense. Active and subjunctive. And it might be subjunctive because of quamvis, though I don't remember anything about quamvis introducing a subjunctive clause. So I'm not sure exactly why Melobius is using it here. But let's take a look at the other words first. So quamvis means although. Kind of like quam. Lapis, 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 and lapis. This is going to be nominative or genitive singular masculine. Since the verb is singular, I'm going to go with nominative singular. Although rock, omnia, this one is clearly going to be accusative plural neuter. So we're going to be keeping our eye out for its noun. Nudus, us right there, is another nominative singular masculine modifying rocks. So although bare rocks, limosoque, so we have that added on there, connecting these two clauses together. Limoso is going to be part of this half of the clause because que only connects it connects the second object or the second thing of two things, and it's always appended to the end of the word. So limoso, since it's got the o right there, it's going to be dative or ablative. If it were connecting two adjectives or whatever this is, you'd expect another ablative up or dative up here. There's not, so then que has to be connecting two different halves of a sentence. So limoso is dative, ablative, singular, and it could be masculine or neuter. And so we'll need to keep also an eye out for its noun. So looking ahead, we have Paulus right there, and Paulus is a third declension, and this is one of those third declensions that's not neuter. It's Paulus paludis, I think. So that's going to be nominative again. Third dec, and it means swamp, marsh, or a bog. So then so far we have two subjects for our verb, lapis and Paulus. Abducat pascua, with that A right there. Pascua is a adjective. Pascuus, pascua, pascuum. So it could be ablative singular with limoso, but then limoso would be limosa, or pascua would be pascuo, so that doesn't make any sense. And then junco right here is a second declension. Juncus. Well, no, it is a second declension, but I think it is. No, it's going to be a noun. But now I don't remember its nominative form. Because it has to be a noun based on the meaning. With the O tells us that it could be masculine or neuter. That doesn't help. That certainly doesn't help. So then, that's another thing that I'm going to put a note in there to correct. So, dative or ablative, singular, and then I'll leave that blank. Pascua, I think this is actually going to be an accusative plural neuter substantive. And why that? Well, because you got an accusative right there with lapis. But so far we didn't have an accusative with palos. And both of these need to have an object to abducat. So then what does this all mean together? Well, I think what we've got is, although bare rocks may draw over, draw in front, cover, pass. I think cover is going to be a better option there. All I'm going to say things. Well, no, since rura is neuter, all applied your farms and a swamp, marsh, a bog. Let's go with a marsh, and marsh with ablative right there. So that limoso means slimy or muddy or miry. Pascua means grazing, having to do with grazing pasture, which is why that makes sense as the object. And Junco means a rush, a sort of plant. Now, why didn't I write down the gender? Oh well. So, and marsh covers, again implied your. Grazing lands. And then we'd say, do we want a dative indirect object? Grazing lands for rushes? No. With muddy, slimy rushes. Oh, sorry, I had to run away. Apparently it's too early for my voice to work properly. Exclamation mark. So then this, I think, explains, and the commentary also thinks explains, why Octavian would have allowed the petition of the farmer to keep his land. Because it's trash. Covered in rocks. It's a slimy marsh. Yeah, not much good. If Octavian were to give that type of land to soldiers, they would be very unhappy with him. So yeah, wise choice on Octavian's part. Let's continue. Non insueta gravis temptabunt. There we have our verb. It's the same thing as we had with manebunt, so I'm not going to parse that again. So we want to find our plural subject. So insueta could be the plural, part of the plural, except this is an adjective. Gravis is also an adjective. But here we have pabula, and pabula is a noun, and it just so happens to be neuter, so that works as our subject. Nominative, plural, neuter, with insueta modifying that. Gravis, gravis, grave. Gravis could be nominative singular, which doesn't make sense with the verb, or it could be genitive singular. So that's what we're going to have to go with. We don't know the gender specified for that, so and it also doesn't appear to matter since there's no other word for it to modify in here. Fetos, long AS right there. So this is the adjective form of fetos, and this one means pregnant. That's feminine. And, well, sorry, it means pregnant, but it can also mean the recently born. Either way. Normally, fetus, with a fourth declension noun, is going to refer to the baby in the womb or out of the womb, recently out of the womb. So, pabula means food or nourishment. So then, not. Insueta means unaccustomed or unusual. Unaccustomed, maybe. Unaccustomed food, nourishment, will not tempt children, pregnant ones, or unaccustomed food of the heavy. Well, another option, which the commentary suggested for the meaning of grauis, is that it could be like sick or ailing. Is that would be heavy. Heavy. Someone who's heavy moving is either obese, which is not going to be Tityrus's case, or you can talk about somebody who is slowed by their sickness. And so I think the commentary suggestion is very reasonable, which is why I'm going to go with it. And then that would mean that it's referring to to Tityrus or someone in his position, and therefore masculine. So, yeah. Sorry, my brain went blank for a moment. Like, which word goes here? Unaccustomed. Pregnant ones. Yeah, newborns. Comma. Nec mala bikini pecoris. So that looks like with S, it could be a verb, but no. Lident right there. Inti, this is lido, lidere. Lideo. No, I think this is a third, so that E tells us that this will be future to match temptabunt. Okay, looking for a plural subject. Cantagia is a neuter, so it could be that. Pecus pecoris is a third, so that doesn't work as that, but it's also neuter. Bikini could be a nominative plural, to go with that. And then mala, which is probably modifying cantagia, could also work. So we need to figure out which makes more sense. Neighbors, contagion, or touch. Touch, strike, knock, hurt, outrage, violates. What, though? Pecoris, it has to be genitive singular and neuter, as I said. So something needs to be, it needs to strike something. So I'm tempted to go with bikini as the subject and cantagia as the object. So this flocks. Neither the neighbors strike. Contagion of the flock. That's a bit weird. Pecus pecoris. Could be that I'm misremembering the form of pecoris, but I don't think so. The way that I just looking at it, I want to read it is because of what he's saying here. Nor the evil contagion of the neighbor will strike the flock, but the flock's not accusative, so we can't do that. So I think instead it's got to be what I said. Neither the neighbor striking, injuring, violating, and then evil contagions of the flock. I'm not quite sure what implication based on the grammar is going on here, but it's maybe what Meliboeus is saying is that the neighbors won't poison your flock. I don't know. So I have to say nominative, plural, masculine, accusative, plural. Ooh. No, that still doesn't work. Neuter, also accusative, plural, neuter. Nor neighbors strike, damage. Yeah. No. Strike, evil. Contagions. I don't remember. Of ooh, man, why didn't I see that? Sorry for correcting it yet again. So we've got, could be genitive here. Definitely genitive here. Accusative, oh, nominative could be there. Why? As it could be, nor will evil contagions of the flock of the neighbor strike. There we go. So that makes a lot more sense. Nor neighbors flocks evil strike, nor will. There we go. Solved. Woohoo! Figured it out. I hope that wasn't too confusing for you. And if you, in watching this, like, it's obvious. Why didn't you get it? I understand. I too will one day be smart. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope taking a look at this has been helpful for you, and I hope that you have a good day. Wally.
What? You're still awake? Why are you still here then? You should be reading a book. Or if not reading, you should watch one of these other videos. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. See you next week.